We have fantastic news about the Louisiana special election that took place on Saturday, March 29th, 2025. We talked about this on Roland Unfiltered the day before on Friday, March 28th with activist Gary Chambers. Well, all four amendments have been defeated. Voters voted no on all four amendments, including amendment number 2 that rapper and actor and director 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, came out in public support of. And amendment 2 would have lowered the corporate tax rate and caused a lot of harm to voters and constituents there in Louisiana, especially African Americans. So I'm going to give you a quick recap on what happened. Then I'm going to show you the interview that Roland Martin did on Friday, March 28th, 2025 with activist Gary Chambers. I was on the panel on that show also. Because of time constraints, we did not get a chance to ask Gary Chambers any questions. You can see here in this article, KNOE News Channel 8 in Louisiana is reporting Louisiana voters reject all 4 constitutional amendments on March ballot. This is from March 29, 2025. Amendment 1 asked if the state Supreme Court should be able to discipline out-of-state lawyers. Amendment 2, that 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, rapper, director, came out in public support of. Amendment 2 went down, asked if certain tax revisions should be made. Amendment 3 asked if the legislature should determine which crimes committed by a person under 17 would constitute trying the suspect as an adult. And Amendment 4 asked if the earliest election dates available should be used to fill judicial vacancies. Okay, so all 4 amendments were defeated. Check this out at KNOE Channel 8 News, knoe.com. So if we take a look here at what the amendment, especially what Amendment 2 would have done, and I posted this on my Facebook fan page, the African History Network. If we take a look at this quickly. So Amendment 2 proposed changes to some of Louisiana's rules about taxes, government spending, and teacher pay. This amendment is a grab bag of changes, but at its core, it cuts funding for early, special, and kindergarten through 12th grade education, as well as roads and infrastructure maintenance. Now, African-American voters turned out in big numbers to defeat these measures. And as Gary Chambers posted on his Twitter page, he talked about how 37% of early voters were African Americans. Okay, and this was as of Thursday or Friday. On his X page, on his Twitter page that I stopped using, X because of Elon Musk. Gary Chambers posted this. He said, Gary Chambers posted this and said, Black voters are already 37% of Louisiana's early vote in the special election happening this Saturday, March 29th. That's major. Now we must keep building on that momentum. Okay. And he talked about how in Orleans Parish, 61% of early voters so far were African-American. East Baton Rouge Parish, 44% early Black voter turnout. Cato Parish, which is Shreveport, 52%. St. John the Baptist, a staggering 79% Black voter turnout. Morehouse, St. James, Madison, those are all over 60% Black voter turnout. Okay. So he went on to say, vote no on all 4 constitutional amendments. They don't help working class folks, Black, white, or otherwise. These amendments are written to serve the powerful, not the people. They want you to stay home. They're hoping you miss this moment But when we vote, we block bad policy with people power, and every single vote raises that percentage and sends a message to Jeff and Mike, we're not going quietly. Okay, so this was you had Jeff Landry, the governor of Louisiana, who was backing this. Also, this had support from Republicans there. These 4 amendments had support from Republicans there as well in the state of Louisiana. So this was a MAGA bill, and Amendment 2 was backed by Curtis Jackson. Okay, now there was one amendment that was going to that dealt with allowing and let me see how they phrased it. It was dealing with juveniles, Amendment 3. Okay, Amendment 3 dealt with it would allow Louisiana legislature to decide which crimes could lead to a juvenile being tried as an adult. Okay, so and that's this one right here, Amendment 3. This amendment would allow the Louisiana legislature to decide which crimes could lead to a juvenile being tried as an adult. Additionally, this would allow lawmakers to change rules over time without needing a constitutional amendment. So when I heard about this, this made me think about the 1898 Louisiana state constitution, which imposed poll taxes and literacy tests, but it also imposed the grandfather clause, which stated that if your grandfather could not vote prior to 1867, you couldn't vote. And these were all measures designed to suppress the African-American vote and get around the 15th Amendment and keep African-American males from voting. Read this article from Equal Justice Initiative, calendar.eji.org. On this day, May 12, 1898, Louisiana officially disenfranchises Black voters and jurors. So in addition to the grandfather clause and poll taxes and things like this, and a poll tax was a tax that you had to pay to register to vote, what the state of Louisiana also did was they instituted a 9-3 split in a criminal case, felony charges. And this was designed to nullify African Americans who were on the jury, because it was legal for African Americans to serve on juries in the state of Louisiana. The 1898 Louisiana State Constitution also eliminated the requirement of unanimous jury verdicts. Okay, so this meant that if you were found guilty of a crime, all right, and you had, if you were found guilty of a crime and you had 1 or 2 African Americans on the jury who said you were not guilty, you would have to, if 9 white people said you were guilty, then you were guilty. You didn't have to have a unanimous jury. Okay, they did this specifically targeting African American jurors. Okay, so this allowed as much as a 9-3 split to stand as a conviction. Because the U.S. Constitution now prevented states from wholly barring Black people from jury service, this provision was enacted to render small numbers of Black jurors inconsequential. Thomas Seams, a former Confederate senator and head of the convention's Judiciary Committee, praised the provision for success in its goal to establish the supremacy of the white race in the United States to the extent to which it could be legally and constitutionally done, end quote. The 1898 Louisiana Constitution eliminated federally enforced voting rules that had enfranchised Black men or given them the right to vote in Louisiana during Reconstruction. Reconstruction is 1865 to 1877, the period of time right after the Civil War ends in 1865. As a result, in a state with 650,804 Black residents, the number of Black registered voters dropped from 130,000 before the new Constitution to just 5,000 registered Black voters by the year 1900. So 130,000 registered Black, and these were Black men voters, right before 1898, to only 5,000 registered Black male voters in the year 1900. By the year 1904, the number dropped to just 1,000. So this was specifically designed to attack the Black political power, Black voting power that African Americans had. And we were also voting African American men into the state legislatures and into local governments also. Okay. Now this Constitution, even though it changed a little bit over time, throughout the southern states, disenfranchisement laws targeted Black communities for generations. Louisiana's 1898 Constitution was revised slightly in 1913, but most of this restrictive language remained until 1972. The unanimous jury rule remained in effect for more than a century until Louisiana voters approved a constitutional amendment to abolish it in November 2018. Okay, now I think it changed to a 10-2 vote decades later. Okay, but still 10 white people say you did it and 2 African Americans say you're not guilty, you're still guilty. But this stayed in effect as a result of the 1898 Louisiana State Constitution until 2018. Okay, so I'm sick and tired of all these people and all these conservatives and Black MAGA and Black Republicans saying that slavery and the Reconstruction era and that period of time, the Jim Crow era, has nothing to do with today. That's a damn lie. And they want to keep you ignorant, to keep you from voting strategically and voting your interests and voting for policies that are beneficial to you, your family, and your communities. This is why I say we have to stop telling African Americans to exercise your right to vote. You don't vote for exercise, you vote for power. You vote for power in policies that are beneficial to you, your communities, your family, and policies that are beneficial for African Americans, are beneficial for America in general. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to show you the interview that Roland Martin did on Friday, March 28, 2025 with activist Gary Chambers on Roland Martin Unfiltered. I'm historian and national political commentator Michael Imhotep. Follow me on Facebook and fan base at The African History Network. Follow me on YouTube and Instagram at Michael Imhotep. Visit my website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Register for my online history classes that I teach on Saturdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school, what we did with thousands of years of history, and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. And watch me on Fridays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And watch me on Fridays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Check out this video.
We're always telling you, you must exercise your power. You must not sit on the sidelines, and that there always are elections happening across the country that are happening in your state, in your county, in your city. Well, in Louisiana, there's an election tomorrow that deals with 4 constitutional amendments. These amendments deal with changing the tax law, establishing specialty courts, changing the dates of judicial elections, and things along those lines. Now, these, of course, we talk about constitutional amendments. That means that they're actually going to be placed in the Constitution. Okay, that means that's the law. It is very, very hard to actually change that. Well, you got folks there who are in Louisiana, African Americans who have really been going around the state, really holding town halls and trying to get our folk to understand the impact of these elections. In fact, the powercoalition.org, they've been working with Gary Chambers, Inc. to do so. This is a graphic that they put up. You can access. I put this on all my social media outlets, y'all. So you can go grab it from my Instagram page, my Twitter page, from fan base, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook. I posted on all of them. And so they're saying say no to all of the constitutional amendments. You see at the bottom right here, you got any problem voting, call 866-OUR-VOTE. You also have, of course, how you can find your polling place and district. You go to powercoalition.org/vote. And so, and again, so activist Gary Chambers Jr. has really been focused on this. So Gary hit me up today and he said that, oh, these Republicans are real scared. And so they have been using, of course, using text messages that have been going to black folks. I saw somebody on posting on social media. They don't even live in Louisiana and they got a text message. And so you might say, well, who are they utilizing? Who are they having pushed stuff out? Would you believe rapper 50 Cent? Now, 50 Cent just signed a 45-year lease agreement for his studio buildings in Shreveport, Louisiana. This is the video Gary sent me that they have been sending around with 50 Cent backing one of these constitutional amendments. I want y'all to listen.
This is Curtis James Jackson. You might know me as 50 Cent. I have a special message for the people of Louisiana. As you may have heard, I'm now a proud Louisiana property and business owner working hard to bring film and television industry back to Louisiana. I'm working because I have an opportunity to use my influence and make real change in the communities. I want to see more jobs and prosperity in the state of Louisiana. This is why I support the Amendment 2 on your ballot this Saturday. You should too. Don't let anyone confuse you about the Amendment 2. It gives teachers permanent pay raise. It doubles senior citizens tax deduction. This is all good stuff. Voting in favor of the Amendment 2 makes common sense. And this is a bipartisan effort. Every Louisiana State Senate Democrat voted to get the Amendment 2 on the ballot. This one is about the people coming together. This is Curtis James Jackson. You might know me as 50 Cent.
Okay.
I have a special message.
All right. Well, again, 50 Cent just showed up in Louisiana very recently. Let's talk to somebody who is a lifelong resident of Louisiana, activist Gary Chambers Jr. So, Gary, you sent me that this morning. So you heard 50 Cent there talking about Amendment 2. This is from the Power Coalition. They say this amendment would change some of Louisiana's rules about taxes, government spending, and teachers' pay. It is a grab bag of changes, but at its core, it cuts funding for early, special, and K-12 education, as well as roads and infrastructure maintenance. Explain.
Thank you again, Roland, for having us be a part of this conversation. You know, I wish 50 would have tried something else today other than interfering in our politics. But the reality is it's about what's good for him. But the truth of this is, Roland, they are restructuring the entirety of our tax code to help people like 50 Cent. Out-of-state business owners are going to be able to get more money in tax deductions in order to pay for this. People who are working class folks, school teachers, bus drivers, people who are auto mechanics, people who are people that work in restaurants. You're going to end up paying more in taxes because they're taxing more things in sales taxes. Teachers, this is a stipend that they're going to make permanent. It is not a raise. Teachers are not going to get any additional money in their pay. And a matter of fact, because of the changes in the sales taxes, their money is going to get ate up in more taxes rather than a serious substantive raise for our teachers. Roland, this has gotten so desperate for the governor that he was at the White House the other day, caught on a hot mic talking to Mike Johnson about this issue. And that's why they call 50, because at the end of the day, 50 is a businessman looking to advance himself in his business. And I don't have an issue with 50 coming to Shreveport and doing business. I don't have an issue with him buying up property. I don't have an issue with him attempting to revitalize Shreveport. I do have an issue with you saying that this is something that's good for us because you heard it from some white politicians in our state. I would also tell you that Democrats in the state Senate did vote for this, but ask black folks in the state of Louisiana if they showed up overwhelmingly for the Democrats that are in the Senate. The answer is no. We've had abysmal voter turnout in this state over the last couple of years. We've never had, in Baton Rouge, I looked this up recently, Roland, in Baton Rouge in the last 20 years, there's not been a single legislative race where 50% of the people showed up to vote. So it's telling me that a senator supported this is not telling me that this is what the people of the state of Louisiana support. Also, right now, 37% of turnout in the state of Louisiana is black. If 12 to 15% of white people agree with what black voters are saying right now in this state, we end up defeating the governor and sending a message to him and the state legislature that you got to do better than this. The other thing is, we don't need confusion. We're telling people to vote no on all four. To have 50 come in and say voting yes on two, that's entering in confusion to a simple message, no on all four, because they're all bad for the people of Louisiana.
Did the Power Coalition, did you or any others, did 50 Cent reach out to black activists to talk to them about any of this?
I've never had a conversation with 50. I reached out to you. I reached out to some other folks on the national level who I felt may have a relationship with the brother, because look, you may not know, okay? I'm trying to give the brother the benefit of the doubt. 50, you may not understand how this will hurt working class people, how this is gonna hurt poor people. You may not have read the legislation because it's such a complicated piece of legislation that people sued in order to have it removed from the ballot because the language is so long and complicated because it's confusing. The reality is this policy is gonna restructure our tax plan, cost poor people more money, help rich people keep more of their money, and it's a bad deal for the working class people of Louisiana. It is also disappointing when black folks who have acquired a certain level of wealth talk to wealthy white people to come then tell black folks what they ought to do. I think that's a disingenuous position. I can appreciate him coming into our state, but oh boy, mind your business when it comes to this one.
So, and so here's the deal. Let's be real clear. Jeff Landry is MAGA to his core. And it's not like this is about black folk.
Roland, you know what blows me about this? I wasn't going to go there, but I'm going to go there. 50 wouldn't say nothing about the national politics that impacts the entirety of black people in America. Couldn't get you to open your mouth about what black folks should do in the presidential election. Now we got the Department of Education being torn down, where black folks are questioning about so many funding mechanisms that take care of black children, special needs children. You use special needs children in your messaging while they're dismantling the Department of Education, and you're trusting the people who are aiding and abetting that process to govern the state of Louisiana with just and equitable policies. If you don't want to say nothing about the national politics where you have national influence, please don't come down here meddling in our local state issues when you have a platform to be able to influence black people all over this country. But it seems you only want to use that when it's beneficial to you, and I call bullshit on that.
So let's go through these amendments for folk who don't understand. First off, Amendment 1 would allow the Louisiana legislature to create trial courts of specialized jurisdiction and provide Supreme Court original jurisdiction to discipline out-of-state lawyers. Walk us through that.
So this basically says that if an out-of-state lawyer does something that the courts oppose, that they give them the ability to create special courts. Roland, you understand the complexities of what it takes to put something into the Constitution. This gives them broad powers to create new courts. We oppose that. While specialty courts can be a benefit, we don't want new broad sweeping powers for them to go in and create specialty courts that they're going to end up penalizing lawyers with. The Supreme Court of the state of Louisiana can already deal with out-of-state lawyers. We don't need a new court system to do it. More bureaucracy.
All right. We talked about Amendment 2, so let's go to Amendment 3. It would allow the Louisiana legislature to decide which crimes could lead to a juvenile being tried as an adult. Additionally, this would allow lawmakers to change rules over time without needing a constitutional amendment.
So right now, 80% of the kids in juvenile justice system in Louisiana are black kids. So we know that these laws are generated to lock up more black kids. But here's the reality. District attorneys in Louisiana are already charging juveniles as adults. They already last year took kids out of juvenile correctional facilities and placed them in Angola Penitentiary. He just put a proposal forth to spend $36 million on a new juvenile detention center in Rapides Parish while we are looking for funding for tutoring programs. This is not about helping black children. This is not about making our community safer. If he was serious about making our community safer, he'd have took that $36 million and invested in community programs to tutor these kids and give them after-school programs in some of these communities where these things are happening. District attorneys already have the power to charge these juveniles as adults. What this would do is give the legislature the ability to throw a bunch more charges in there that they can put our kids in jail for. So a kid who stole a $500 cell phone could end up in an adult correctional facility. And the reality is you end up with kids that are more broken than they are fixed by that. We end up with kids that are tainted by the justice system rather than given the tools that they need to be successful in this life. And the last thing I'll say on that, Roland, is you don't get a Gary Chambers if rules like that existed in Louisiana, because I was a kid who was arrested for the first time at 12, arrested again at 16, and arrested again at 21. Never was I arrested for something that I was actually guilty of, okay? So let's be clear. Every black kid that gets in contact with the cops is not necessarily a criminal or wrong, but the system in this state should not become more punitive. It should become more prosperous and give young people the ability to find avenues for prosperity rather than punishment.
Okay, let's go to Amendment 4. Would allow the state to fill the vacancies for new courts using the earliest election date allowed by state law, which are often low turnouts.
They want to do just what they're doing right here in this March 29th election where most people aren't paying attention. The governor was caught on a hot mic saying they thought the turnout was going to be 12%. Now they're predicting that the turnout is going to be around 22%. They know that low turnout elections allow them to get judges of their choosing on the bench, and that does not benefit the global population of this state to get an equitable and fair judiciary.
And again, when you talk about these low turnout elections, look, they understand how things helps them and how it helps them being able to turn out. In fact, this is a NOLA small business owner, Matthew Roland Weber. He posted this. This is his graphic on the. Give me 1 second. It's not coming up. We'll figure out why. Give me a second. He posted a graphic on this election here. This is how he broke it down. He calls Amendment 1 shady specialty courts. Amendment 2 tax cuts for the rich. Amendment 3 dismantling juvenile justice. Amendment 4 tinkering with judicial elections.
I love it. I love it. It is short, to the point, and accurate to what this is. These policies are all bad for the state of Louisiana. I really hope that 50 finds some new relationships in our state so that he doesn't come meddling in and trying to tell black folks. And let me tell you something. I know he doesn't care, but there's not a single black person that I've talked to today that felt anything positive from getting that text message from 50. And I would hope that somebody like him would not allow people to use him as a tool. Because if you are as bad as you say you are, then you should be coming in, influencing and changing things rather than getting those people to use you like a piece of equipment.
This was that you mentioned the video, the hot mic. This is it. This is when MAGA Governor Jeff Landry was in Washington, D.C., and he's here with House Speaker Mike Johnson. Folks, listen to this.
What's the anticipated turnout? Well, we thought it would be 12, but it looked like it might be 18%. Yeah. This week. Okay.
Johnson, Speaker of the House from Louisiana, Shreveport.
I try to tell folks all the time, you got folks from the 50th ranked state in the nation running the whole damn country. And I've been screaming to pay attention to the elections in Louisiana because this little raggedy place that people try to ignore is punching above its weight every day. You got a guy from Caddo Parish, Louisiana, standing at the White House with Jeff Landry, caught on a hot mic. These same people are justifying folks who can't even text correctly, can't even operate a simple process of evaluation within their government. And these are the people that you want to trust with the government. The rest of the country should pay attention to these deep South states because people like Jeff Landry are friends with people like Mike Johnson, and Mike Johnson is dismantling the country before our eyes with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And if you ignore these elections, if you're not paying attention to what's happening here, it'll be knocking on your door soon enough.
And folks, if you want to understand why it's important when you talk about how they want to change the law to benefit business owners, you might say, well, okay, but what's the big deal? Where does Louisiana stand? Go to my iPad. These are the rankings, y'all. When it comes to crime and corrections, Louisiana, the 50th ranked state in America. The economy, the 49th ranked state. Education, 47th. Fiscal stability, 41st. Healthcare, 46th. Infrastructure, 49th. Natural environment, 49th. Opportunity, 44th. That's not where you want to be. So the highest ranking for Louisiana, Gary, is fiscal stability at 41. You don't want to be in the bottom of states in America.
So with a 41st ranked fiscal stability, you're going to go in and now move the money that we put in stability funds. You're going to move the money that we put in rainy day funds. You're going to move. We already in the bottom 10 of the whole country. I tell people all the time, there are people in this state who love to be first in the worst. There are people here who are committed to being great at being the last. And I think that we have to make a collective decision that you won't allow people with small thinking to have a big impact. OK, and the way that you minimize that is by supporting people and the elections and the initiatives that are happening in the places that nobody else is expecting to have an impact on your life. Trump understands that these people are simple-minded like Mike Johnson. Trump understands that they are linear focused on one thing, and that is white supremacy and religious control within this country. And whatever they do in order to make that happen, they don't care what it costs you or how uncomfortable it makes your life, as long as they accomplish that goal. They don't care how much Trump destroys other aspects of the government if it helps them accomplish their end goal, which is putting more mediocre white men in positions of power over you.
Again, folks, big election tomorrow in Louisiana. Call your friends, post on social media, tell your folks to turn out. Black numbers are huge in Louisiana and can be the deciding factor in that state. And you're right. Listen, if black folks turn out in those numbers as you laid out, as you've been laying out in early voting, that could be the difference in this being defeated, Gary, and forcing the governor to have to come back to the table and, frankly, negotiate with the people on a real economic plan for Louisiana.
That is exactly right, Roland. I thank you, as always, brother, for highlighting the issues of our people here in this state. Please text your people, call your people. If 5 to 10% more black folks show up tomorrow and vote no on all 4 constitutional amendments, we get to have a different conversation with our state legislature in 3 weeks when they go into session.
Gary Chambers Jr., we appreciate it, man. Thanks a bunch, and we hope it's a good night for you and others tomorrow night when the polls close.
You know I'll be reaching out, Roland. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Again, I just want to remind people that in Louisiana, polls open at 7 a.m. Central. 7 a.m. Central in Louisiana. They close at 8 p.m. Central. So let folks know, don't sit at home. Don't sit at home, folks. All right? Don't sit at home.
Here at Sage and Elm, it's a plant thing. Everything is made by hand from plants, from our salves to our soaps, our lotions, our oils. Come shop our over 400 products made by hand from plants just for you, because you deserve the best.
Did you know that the Washington Monument is based upon an ancient African structure called a tekken that comes from the mythology of Asar, Arset, and Heru, who the Greeks called Osiris, Isis, and Horus? Did you know that the panther deity Bast in the movie Black Panther and Wakanda Forever comes from an ancient African deity, a neter in ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, called Bastet? Did you know that there were 17 pyramids found buried underneath Egypt around 2011? Also, the city of Memphis, Tennessee. What's the relationship between Memphis, Tennessee and Memphis in ancient Egypt? I'm historian and national political commentator Michael Imhotep. Be sure to register for my new 12-week online history course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Kemet is one of the original names for Egypt. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Did you know that the word Wakanda is a real word? We find it in the Key Congo language, which is a Bantu language, but we also find it in the Omaha Ponca and Sioux Indian Native American languages. My class starts up Saturday, March 1st, 2025, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a 12-week online history course. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. We do with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. When we talk about the transatlantic slave trade, we can't start our studying of the history in 1619 in Hampton, Virginia, or in Jamestown. We can't start in 1441 with the transatlantic slave trade starting with the Portuguese. We have to deal with thousands of years of history that leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We'll deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, who take the teachings from the Nile Valley region of Africa into Europe, and this is what brings Europe out of the Dark Ages. We'll talk about ancient African empires, whether we deal with ancient Nubia, whether we deal with Kush, Kemet, Mali, Songhai, Ghana. This is a 12-week online history course. We deal with 80 to 100 articles. There are 200 slides that I show you in the class. There are video clips. There are 15 books that we reference. You don't have to buy any of the books to follow along in class. It's a very visual class, so we show you all that information right on the screen. The class is PG-13 as well, so you can use this with your children. Download my lesson plan from my website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Register right now. Right now, it's correct strong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We'll see you in class. Peace.
Is your child struggling with reading, writing, learning loss, and a culturally irrelevant curriculum? Do you want your child to be outstanding at reading and writing and also take pride in their culture? Then you want Reading Revolution Online. Reading Revolution Online is a web-based reading support program. We serve scholars in grades K through 8, and through our innovative approach, we help them build reading confidence and cultural identity development, equipping them for success in school and life. They learn about Black heroes and sheroes through captioned videos, reading selections, and other activities. Reading Revolution Online is an experience for the whole family. Do it for the culture. Go to readingrevolution.org and get your membership today.
Here at Sage and Elm, it's a plant thing. Everything is made by hand from plants, from our salves to our soaps, our lotions, our oils. Come shop our over 400 products